hate that word, fat.
Well, exactly. That's another one. It's a 3-letter word that's become a 4-letter word
so
because
offensive.
it's one of those red flags that
I
go
hate
up.
the word obesity.
But what word do you like, though?
Overweight.
Yeah.
Overweight, I know. And I know it's a clinical term,
Yeah.
but it feels so offensive to call somebody obese, even though it's just a definition.
And when you hear that word, I mean, I remember being called fat as a kid. You get so demoralized. It holds you back because it's not just a physical thing. So much of it is a mental thing too.
Yeah.
Clearly,
it's one of the things that we need to do is separate the issue around self-esteem and weight, and be able to deal with it in a way where we're having an
done.
it's very, very hard to
especially in
separate
this culture.
that.
Right.
Right.
And like when we talk about diets, I always tell people that it's 50% attitude. So I think a significant amount is psychological. Most people know what the healthy foods are. They know if you eat less and you move more, the weight is going to come off. But like, unless your head is really in the game, unless you're invested on a day to day to day, it's just not going to happen. It's hard.
So why do you think we are a nation that's getting fatter and fatter, Joy? We have so much information out there, as you said.
Well, I think it's twofold. One, we have a toxic food environment. Oh my goodness, when you look at what is offered, you know, it's not only processed, it's processed on steroids. The portions are enormous and they're growing and growing. And the companies are just trying to outdo each other, as well as the fast foods. And even though the fast food chains, and kudos to them, they are offering better alternatives, lower calories, lower fat, lower sugar. It's really hard to go into the fast food chains and put your blinders on to those delicious smelling French fries and burgers and pizza and say, you know, I'll get the salad with the low-cal dressing and I'll get the apple dippers. It's really tough. Now, if you couple that with people who are super overscheduled, you know, we're juggling our kids and carpools and homework and work and responsibilities, trying to do it all. So we don't have the time to invest in the kitchen, going to the farmer's market, making these home-cooked meals. It's not that we're to blame, but there's a lot of moving parts that are leading to an obese, overweight society.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen the documentary Food Inc., but they have a family there that wants to eat healthy, but they have a very limited budget. They can't afford healthy food. They can't afford the organic
huge problem.
I also think we're breeding a generation that's overweight. It's so much easier to prevent than it is to lose the weight once you have it on. But you look at what we're doing in our schools and in our communities. You know, the school programs here they're knocking out recess. They're knocking out physical activity.
Right.
You look at the school lunches that the kids are getting. There's a lot of processed food there. They're not growing up healthy and then maintaining that. By the time people are reaching their late teens and early adulthood, they've got all this extra weight, and then they have to figure out, how do I eat healthy? How do I learn to move? How do I use my body?
Exactly
it's not part of their life.
And you know, they talked about taxing soda. I wish instead of going in that direction with conversations, they would subsidize fruits and vegetables in areas that don't have access. That's what we need to do. And you talk about prevention. It's really hard once you are overweight to lose weight, but we could break the chain with the kids. We can do it, but we've got to make available the foods that we're educating them about. Because, you know, you give them all this great education, and then they go to the bodegas.
And that's right.
And there's nothing there.
There is some data. There is some encouraging data that we're starting to see a leveling off in kids. You know, and some places it's starting to come down. Yeah, and that is like one little glimmer of hope that maybe it's not going to keep going in this direction. But now, how do we reverse it?
You know, I'm not a big believer in conspiracies and conspiracy theories, but it almost feels like that between the processed food industry and the weight loss industry. We'll make them real fat for you, and then you can have billions of dollars, and then you can rake in billions selling them these diets.
Well, I think everybody's interested in their, you know, bottom line. So, you know, the food companies know what sell. Everybody's going to always want delicious food, and unfortunately, we've gotten so used to these high sugar, fat, salty items. So they're not going to go away, but we have to get smarter, and we have to take responsibility